Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Today we're gonna get into the third video in this series of mine about things you can skate as a beginner that will change your skating forever. But before we get into it, I'd like to first of all thank the patrons. Patrons enable me to keep working on this stuff. I do things over there like a monthly Q&A. This month we're doing two. We're gonna try to get two in a month going forward, where anybody who's a member can submit a question and I answer the questions in a video. I also do things like one-on-one video lessons over Zoom, FaceTime, or however you need to do it. Or you can send me clips of you attempting tricks and I can give you a critique. If those are something that you're interested in, then check down in the description and there's a link to my Patreon group. I also want to plug my music channel. It is called Dreadword Bernays. I realize that some of you guys might not know about it. I got a comment today on one of the videos that I made. Someone who said they've been watching my skateboarding related videos for a long time and had no idea that I make music. I do. Most of the music that you hear or have heard on this channel is my own original music. And right now I picked up this Teenage Engineering EP 1320 Medieval, and I've been making a bunch of videos on this. Usually my channel is based on me making music on my MPC, sometimes me playing live with my band. That's linked in the description as well. It's called Dreadword Bernays. You can also check out my music, which is linked in the description below. And also, last but not least, please check out Collage Skateboards, my brand. We sell skateboards, t-shirts, and some hats. You can get the boards, shirts, and hats from www.clubdist.com. That's Club Distribution's website. They're our distribution partner. Everything's linked below as well. And let's get into the video. So, this is the third video in the series. The first thing we talked about was long slides, and specifically slappy nose slides, and how that would help you and change your skateboarding forever. Then we talked about skating small transition, and today we're going to talk about skating drops. And yes, I said drops, not stairs. And there's a very simple reason, there's a couple simple reasons that this is going to help you. Now, the first is that your flip tricks, you've learned your flip tricks. You want to take them to the next level. You want to do your flip tricks higher. Well, one of the problems when we start trying to attempt our tricks higher, it's not actually the execution of the trick itself. We might be able to pop higher, flip higher. We might be able to catch the board, and then we struggle pushing our legs down to the ground, or we're not able to wait for the landing. And so if you start off with a very small drop, I mean like a curb is technically a drop. And let's say you're trying to learn your kickflip better. Doing a bunch of kickflips down something curb height, it's just gonna get you more comfortable with catching and landing from that elevated height. And you can do this with all of your tricks. Another thing that it's gonna do is it's gonna help you start to understand where you should pop in relation to something. So whenever you skate down a drop, even if it's just a curb, you're gonna have to pop well before the edge so that your front wheels don't roll over before you pop. Now, sometimes you can get away with your front wheels rolling over before you pop. Most of the time you're gonna eat it, or you're just gonna flip your trick all weird and not even be able to catch it. So you're gonna have to learn how to gauge how fast you're going based on where you need to pop. You're gonna have to learn how to gauge distance. And this is going to translate into skating other things, like when you start skating ledges and when you start flipping into ledges, because you're going to start learning how to target. You're going to start learning how to anticipate where to pop and how to marry that with how fast you're going. And skating drops and small drops in the beginning is the perfect way for you to learn this. Now, the other thing, and this, you know, I don't know where you are in your skating, where you are as a skater. Like, obviously this video is not even going to be for everyone because some people don't even want to do flip tricks. But the most young beginner skaters, they want to learn flip tricks and they want to learn how to skate stairs. And the thing about stairs is, in the beginning it's kind of scary. Because when you see the stairs, you're not skating very large stairs to begin with, right? You're going to be starting out with a 2, 3, 4, 5 stair, and you're not going to have any idea about how that distance works, right? And so most of the fear for skating stairs, and I can remember this from my own stair skating journey, it's associated with the distance that we have to cover. But what I teach my kids that I'm giving lessons to, and I have quite a few of them that I've taught how to ollie stairs, taught how to 180 stairs, taught a few how to kickflip stairs and more tricks like that. Most of the time, the fear that we associate with that distance, it's all in our head. And it's just because we don't understand how jumping from a certain height makes us clear distance simply because of the height we're skating from. So if you're skating a regular 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 stair, the fact is you don't have to go much faster than you would skating a drop of the same height. You just need to go at comfortable speed. You need to gauge what that speed is by ollieing the stairs first. But most of the time we're afraid because of how we're perceiving the distance. And when we're looking at a set of stairs, we're not usually rolling. So we're not taking into account our speed and what that's going to do, what the height plus the speed is going to do for how far out we land when we actually catch the trick and are going to land and roll away. So a good way to learn about this is to start off skating drops. And I'd say, just like I did before, you start out skating, ollieing off a curb, doing your other tricks off a curb, kickflips, 180s. 180s are good because they make you cover distance. So learning 180s off a drop is going to make it easier for you to learn 180s over stairs. And when you get to stairs, 180s and 180 tricks like backside flips and frontside flips, well, those tricks make you cover more distance. And when I was skating stairs a lot more, you know, I loved doing like nollie frontside flips, nollie backside flips, nollie backside heel flips, nollie frontside heel flips, frontside flips, backside flips, front heel, back heel, because it was easier to cover the distance doing, let's say, a nollie back heel or a nollie front heel than it was doing a nollie heel straight. And especially when you're popping off the nose, it takes away some of your speed as you're popping early on because you're not doing it with the best execution and you're not very confident. So when you do these 180 tricks, whether the front side or backside, they help you cover some of that distance because doing the 180 helps you cover distance. And you won't know what I'm talking about unless you've skated stairs or drops. And then if you have, and if you've done a considerable amount of it, then you understand this phenomenon. It's kind of the same for popping. When I started skating over lunch tables, I obviously kickflipped over one first, but once I'd landed the kickflip and tried backside flips were much easier, and frontside flips. And when I could still frontside flip, there were multiple times where I frontside flipped over a lunch table first try. I think I've done a backside flip over first try too, but it just the rotation helps you cover distance. And so anyway, once you're over this curb height, you want to go up to about double the curb's height. And then you want to go up to about waist height. Now that waist height's going to be different for everyone. I'm assuming most of you are not going to be as tall as me who are learning how to skate. So your waist height's going to differ. And then you want to just try to go up and find heights that are going to correspond with the size of stairs that you want. So for me, my belly button's height is about the size of a 7 stair. And when I was skating steps, you know, I was a little bit shorter than I am now, obviously. So that was a little bit different. But what skating the drops made me do is, first of all, it let me know that I could handle doing tricks from the height. And my friends and I, we learned all of our tricks first down some kind of small drop, and then like a 3 stair, and then like a little bigger of a drop, and then the 5 stair. The 5 stair at Birmingham High School was a popular 5 stair. And then there was a loading dock that we would skate. So there was a loading dock near P-Rod's place. There was behind an Albertsons. It's where he learned tricks. It's where Nigel Alexander learned tricks. Daniel Abadi, a lot of those dudes. It's where P-Rod taught me how to do a proper tray flip. I tray flipped off that loading dock, which probably about the height of a 7 or an 8 stair. And then I was able to land my tray flip down a 5 stair. Before that, I'd only done it down a 3 stair. And I was so afraid of the distance that I would roll sideways, because you know when you're a beginner, your tray flips tend to go sideways, so they travel backside, whatever's backside from you. And so I would roll with the front of me not quite parallel to the edge of the stairs, but at an angle. So if this is me, this is the edge of the stairs, right? The stairs go this way. I'm rolling sideways like this and then tray flipping because it would help me cover the distance, because I was afraid and didn't think I could cover the distance. Once I learned it down the loading dock, I was able to realize, because when you do a tray flip, you catch it, and it usually flips pretty fast. You catch it and you have to sit still. And I realized I was covering distance with the height. So after learning that, I was able to start tray flipping, rolling straight, and I was able to do it down the 5-stair at, I think, Birmingham High School's 5-stair, or maybe even Mulholland Middle School, where I went to middle school. I know that Mulholland Middle School 5-stair was the first one that I ollied. I went to middle school and high school at those high schools, by the way. But skating off of the loading dock, it really, really helped me to skate the stairs. And then another trick where I learned it, I could do them pretty well. I could even do it over one board and then two board and then three boards stacked on top of each other. But then I was afraid to do it downstairs because of the distance, was the cab. And I cabbed stairs before I half cabbed them because I just wanted to do the cab. Steve Caballero was one of my favorite skaters back then, by the way. He did those long board slides and he could skate vert. And even though I was never like a big transition fan, vert was something that I was in awe of just because of how big the obstacle they were skating was and how foreign it was to me. I didn't see a vert ramp in person until, I don't even know, it must have been when I was an adult probably, by the time I finally saw a vert ramp in person. So yeah, Cab was one of my first favorite skaters, with Jeff Raleigh and Kareem Campbell and Muska and all those guys, Keenan Milton. But yeah, so the cab, I learned how to do it over like 3 boards stacked up before I had the courage to try to do it down the stairs. And then once I started trying to do it down the stairs, I wouldn't commit to the landing because I was still afraid I was going to land on top of the stairs. So what I had to do, I remembered it from learning other tricks. Also, backside flips I learned down loading docks first. I went to a loading dock, and it was one of the first things that I ever got on footage. In Van Nuys, there was another loading dock. I can't remember where it is, but I know I had Ronnie Krager shoes, black with yellow accents, when I did the trick. And I did a backside flip down that loading dock, and I did a cab down that loading dock. And my friend from Van Nuys, if you're watching, what's up? Mike Arce, who shot a lot of the first clips that I filmed, he filmed me do the backside flip and the cab. And once I was able to do the cab down this loading dock a few times, I was finally able to go and do it down a 3-stair. And then I took it to a 5, and then that's something, you know, I think I've cabbed like an 11. I know I have the footage of me cabbing a 10-stair in Burbank. I forget which school that's at, but it was one that I think P-Rod frontside flipped over the wall. Earlier than he did that, I frontside 180'd over it in like 2002. But yeah, I have the footage of me cabbing that. But I know I cabbed an 11-stair as well. And the courage to do that all came from skating the drops, right? So it's that little secret. The secret is that when you go up in height, the amount of distance you're going to cover as you pop is going to increase as well. And so skating drops is a good way to increase your confidence in the distance you can cover. So when you're skating these drops, you should pay attention to the distance that you're covering based on how much speed you have, and just make mental notes of that. A lot of my skating, and when it came to like the more competitive aspect, like filming and just improving, I had to make mental notes of things so that I could go back to those later when I was trying something that I knew I was going to be trying, that I was afraid of, that was difficult. Having made that mental note while I skated something that was a stepping stone to that, it often was able to help instill me with the confidence to come away with the trick that I wanted to get. And yeah, that's the gist of why you should skate drops as a beginner. Obviously, I'm going to have to give you some caveats. So if you can't ollie while you're rolling, don't start ollieing off the drop. Start with rolling off a curb. Start with lifting up your nose. Focus on not leaning back when you lift your board up. Focus on making it all happen by just pushing down with your back leg, lifting up with your front leg, and keeping that posture where your arms are up and your knees are bent. And what you do is, when you're scared, let your tail go slow, lift up early, kind of roll with your tail dragging and roll off that way. And then after that, start to speed it up a little bit and lift up without your tail touching. And then once you're comfortable with that and you got your ollies on flat, start rolling, ollieing on flat, start ollieing off the curb. Once you're ollieing off the curb, and importantly, when you're landing and bending your knees after you ollie off the curb, step it up to something that's twice the height of a curb, or roughly in that ballpark. And then step it up to something twice that high. And once you're at about this high, like about 2 feet, then you gotta go find a 3-stair, a 4-stair, regular length. So regular length, I say with steps that are from 6 inches to about 10 inches long, maybe a foot long each. Anything where the stairs are longer than a foot long each, that's going to be considered a little bit stretched. And you want to pay attention to the relationship between the length and the height of the stairs. So if you have stairs that are 6 inches high and they're 12 inches long, that's normal, right? So if you're skating 4, 5, 6 of those, if you go fast enough, you can just lift up your front wheels and roll off, right? That's going to be fine for you to ollie when you're at this point. And then once you have that with your ollies, just repeat the same process with all your other tricks. But as you're going, make sure that you have these tricks relatively consistently before you start going and jumping off stuff. Don't rush it. It's not going to benefit you. It doesn't make you like a badass to rush yourself and get injured. Make sure that you have proper technique, that you can look at your feet. And if you're a kid, wear pads and a helmet when you're starting to skate stairs. Like, I got kids that I'm teaching. I was just teaching them how to ollie over a Euro gap. And the kid who was willing to wear his pads, you know, his parents were there. The parents are the ones who decide if they're able to skate out of pads. You know, we have that discussion. The kid who was wearing pads, he was able to bail and knee slide. So he was able to try the Euro gap a lot faster. Whereas the kid who wouldn't wear the pads, he was struggling, and I had them roll, pump, and ollie off the side and gauge if they were clearing. I knew they were going to clear it because the Euro gap's not very long, and if you go the right speed, you'll get right over it. But a lot of times, your eyes and reality, they're not reflecting the same thing, and especially when you lack the experience. But yeah, if you're a noob, if you're a beginner, wear your pads and your helmet when you're learning how to skate this stuff. Because once you finally get confident and you take them off, it's just going to be that much easier for you. And skateboarding is something that has a profound effect on our body. Let's just say that. And so if you're planning on doing this for a long time, and especially if you're planning on like filming video parts and trying to take your skating as far as you can take it, like if you're the competitive type, if you're the type who wants to do everything you can do on a skateboard because you love it and you've seen and admired skaters and you want a part of that and you want to be a part of that, save your body for later. There's no point in mashing and crunching your body out when you're a little kid just because you think it's cool to not wear pads, because like nobody's gonna care. You're a kid. So get your reps in with the pads, learn everything with the pads. I wish I had done that, right? I wish I had done that. But I never wore pads, never wore a helmet. Now, I only hit my head like 2 or 3 times in skating, and those times a helmet wouldn't have really helped, especially like the last time I had a concussion. I actually hit my chin on my shoulder, and that's what it was from. So that's a little different. But there have been instances where I got little bumps and things, and where especially in the beginning, I remember when I ollied my first 10 stair and it was a little wet on the ground and I slipped out, still have a scar on I think my left knee. I think it's my left knee where I hit it on the ground, and if I had had knee pads, I could have just slid out. So yeah, wear your pads, make sure that you have the tricks relatively consistently before you just go hucking and trying them. And yeah, skating drops will change your skating forever. Thank you for watching. Go check out the other videos in this series. I have made a playlist. Don't forget to check out Collage Skateboards. Check out the Patreon group. Check out Dreadward Bernays, my music channel, where I'm playing this thing right now. And yeah, peace.